We're back. That's right. I know for some of you guys, you just saw me a few minutes ago. And for most of you, we're here. 8 o'clock p.m. Chateau de Mars Hill studio on location, but not in Marion County, but actually Florida. But I'm here stuck in the old, what's it like 50 degrees today. So it was pretty warm overall. I still had to wear layers, but what are you going to do, right? But it's just me and you and everybody else. Lots to talk about. Pretty relaxing. So I did a quick 20-minute breakdown or a quick 20-minute rundown on the Indie Reporter channel a little bit ago. I got to tell you what, that is so fucking stressful trying to get 20 minutes in such a small amount of time or get so much information in such a small amount of time. So I'm like, all right, I'm just going to talk whatever I want to. I had really nothing planned for today except for talking about a bunch of bills. But the city county meeting was yesterday, and I thought it was kind of funny. I have to be like sweet and cute little guy on the rundown show. This one I'm like halfway chubbed, and then the other ones, then obviously the Saturday show, which there won't be a Saturday show. I get to go balls to the wall. Doesn't even matter, plus I also Spiro in the chat, let's go. Plus I don't have to worry about whipping it out if I want to. It's awesome. All right, so city county meeting was actually pretty okay. Surprisingly, there was drama filled. Hold on one second. There we go. All right, I know it was boring. What are you gonna do? Get over it. Get over it. All right. So, city county meeting. It was the first of the year, which means organization day, right? I know. Well, I have controlled chaos in my life. So there was a organization day yesterday, and which we kind of knew what was going to happen. Maggie Lewis was going to be president. John Barth was going to be vice president, and Jared Evans was the majority leader. Now, for all of you those who aren't familiar with back in the day, it's the old guard. Maggie Lewis was president before. John Barth was vice president before. The only thing that is different is Jared Evans as majority leader. Ducky in the chat, Brad in the chat, Spiro in the chat. Hey, Ducky, I have to figure out what's going on when I end the stream because it ends at like 10 or 15 seconds earlier. And so I saw D2 Indy. He had like, Whitmer glitched out. I don't know how to fix that. I think I have to wait like an extra 15 seconds of saying bye and then kill it. I don't know. I'll have to figure it out. So, where are we at? Oh, yeah. So that happened. And then you guys can't hear anything, which is no big deal. But this is what I want to know. Someone message Maggie Lewis. Someone message Ryan Mears, because this is what I want to know. A couple of years ago, they had that second chance workshop. That's what I'm calling it anyway. Mears was like, hey, all these nonviolent juveniles, they just need a little bit of gym membership. Let's give them a one free one for the year from the Boys and Girls Club of Indianapolis. And who happens to be the CEO of the B&G Club? Maggie Lewis, the new president of the city council. I want to know was this taxpayer funded? Was it taken out of the prosecutor's budget? Did Boys and Girls Club give the passes for free? No one's going to ask. No one's going to do it. It doesn't cut you off. And don't get so chummy with the kill button. I think that's, you know what, Ducky? I think you are correct. I have to stop getting chummy with the kill button. Of course, Jesse Brown, when they were taking vote to agree to that Maggie Lewis is going to be president, Jesse Brown was mogged up Leroy, going on a tangent, and you guys can't hear anything. But at the end, Leroy had a very disappointed look on his face, like a defeated look on his face. And apparently Jesse Brown will be on Rob Kendall tomorrow as well. It doesn't matter, though. This was the most interesting part, and why I say constantly do not trust Michael Paul Hart. They had this proposal, Crystal Wells, which former Carlino. It's funny how you have like two crazy broads with the last name Wells. Bad luck name. That's all I'm going to say. And so Wells and Brown Wells, poop well, they had a proposal basically of saying, hey, guess what, data centers, we don't like you, but if we're going to deal with you, you need to be transparent. You can't have any tax abatements, and you have to give more control to the city council to slow all this stuff. But however, we'll work with you, but we want to make sure everybody wins. Surprisingly, it failed. And from what I understand, it's because there was such a broad thing, and it's like we want to keep it in locally. This is what I'm hearing in the background. Heart will betray anybody. He's a pussy. So two crazy McCormicks too. I know, right? McCormick's and Wells, not good. So true. But from what I understand and what they were talking about in the council meeting too was, hey, guess what? It's too broad. We want to make sure if we're going to do it, we're just going to be able to do it locally. We want to know all the ins and outs, which, by the way, this proposal kind of brings that up. It actually has it in there. We don't want to have a moratorium, but we do want to have good faith conversations, no more NDAs, more transparency. Now you can tell who's all the data center bros, all the Republicans. Now Bain had to abstain, and that's mostly because of the data centers that's happening over in Decatur Township right now. But surprised on everybody else. Osley not surprised on Graves. Gibson is going to do whatever the fuck Hawksicle tells him to do. Gibson is like you're the best lapdog for hog nuts, for sure. He is a hog rider. Ron Gibson is the best hog rider of Marion County, next to Vop Osley. All right, so do we want to get into this? Yeah, we'll get into this. There's a lot of time to kill. We're good. All right, so there was some meetings yesterday in the committee. Pretty boring overall, except for the roads and transportation. There were some lame bills. Not a big fan of them. Basically, having a study through DNR. I was like, hey, what kind of like metal conditions? Hey, we have to study the mental health of forest and green spaces. Well, you know what doesn't help green spaces? Tearing down farmland to build more condensed housing. Not very good for the mental health of people. That's all I'm going to say. Also, a bunch of foreigners that don't know how to speak English is not good for our mental health because they don't know how to drive or speak. All right, then there was a study. Also, they want to basically raise the fee for state parks from what it looks like. Now, there was in the Road Transportation Committee meeting. They talked a lot. For guys who don't know, whenever there is a meeting going on, we stream it. Ducky's been in the stream before. Polly, if Polly ever shows up, they've been in the stream before. I think even D2 Indy's been in the stream before. Oh yeah, D2 Indy has been in the stream before, especially during redistricting. So just go to the Indy Reporter page, and then you'll see whatever we're streaming. You're going to go to the IGA website. We mostly use it so I can clip. So I can just go back and I don't have to wait for the recording. Even though I will say IGA has been really good about putting the recordings up quickly. Before it used like 2 or 3 days, sometimes even a week. Much better this time. But so they talked about like how much money it costs for a lot of these projects and how long. So if it's like a big project, it's going to take like 15 years to start on. And it might even be 15 of them lurking. The project might either start 15 years or take 15 years. And you see that with the Mid-States Corridor right now. That is a perfect example of the 15-year project. Now they did Chronicle in the Indiana Capitol Chronicle did do a pretty good job on explaining what was going on, gave the highlights, and then basically Pressel was like, or the INDOT said that there's 300 projects that got the boot. However, we're going to be spending $1 billion on the Mid-States Corridor, which if you listen to Rob and Casey today, Rob had forgot what his name was, but he's got a guy that did that Dubois County poll. Basically saying the Mid-States Corridor is not something that we like down here and it needs to be stopped. But if you guys were paying attention to them, which is something that we researched a while ago about how like INDOT won a case for eminent domain where they can go onto people's land and, basically do inspections on what it's going to take for this corridor to happen. And he also brought up the most important thing that I think was the lack of funding that Indiana got under the Biden administration. And Jim Pressel, who's the chair of the Roads and Transportation on the House side, he says, like, where do we stand on the federal funding for Indiana? And he's like, and so the Indiana guy's like, not good. It's been reduced in the last few years. And he was very specific. And what did he say? He's like, we're not in the upper half, haven't been in the past few years. Obviously, things change. And so that's basically him saying, yeah, Ducky, you're right. It's bronze turf. Exactly. So there is a large theory. There is a large theory going on right now that basically Braun was stepping up into each elected role to become governor, so he could get so he can get the mid-states corridor, because his business will drastically improve with transportation. He runs Meyer Distributing. By the way, Myers Distributing did hire H-1B workers. You're welcome. So interesting that we haven't seen as much federal funding over a Democrat president as in Biden, Mr. Autopen. And it also explains why so much money was wasted on bike lanes over in Michigan. I think it was in Detroit, right? Like a massive amount. How much? Michigan bike lanes. How much did that cost? Lanes, Pete B. How much? Wasn't it like a couple $1 billion or something? Whatever it was, cost of instruction. I don't give a shit. Whatever, doesn't matter. All right, so let's talk about some of these bills. We got a license plate for former legislators. However, to even get this plate, you have to be in office for 12 years, at least 12 years. But from what I was told, I-70 needs to be rebuilt. But yeah. Well, then they also talked about tolls. That was what I talked about. That's what I forgot to talk about on the rundown show. In that road and transportation meeting, they said that they've already filed it with the federal government for tolls. It was last year, actually, that they filed it, which we all knew that was happening. And of course, the government has to approve it. And they also talked about the 69 bridge into Kentucky. Now, from the rumor mill that was going on with redistricting was that if redistricting did pass, we were going to see federal funding to get that bridge completed. Wouldn't even be on our backs. Wouldn't come from our fund. Yeah, I know. Well, I don't think there's legislation that's been passed. They still have to get approval from the federal government. But from what it sounds like, we're going to be paying tolls. Now, they said, I think they even brought this up, that it's primarily going to be used for out-of-state people. But what does that look like? Because when you talk about the edges of the states, or even in like the north-south states, when you're going to Kentucky or you're going to Illinois or Michigan, like how does that count then? Are you going to have to, if you're a resident, do you not have to pay tolls? How is that going to work? Are you going to have to buy a transponder? Well, who's going to be the transponder company? Are they going to be giving money to Braun or the legislators? Like, do you guys see where I'm going with this whole thing? It's like MTX Global and Diego, or even Braun. Like how much money they gave to all these statewide elected officials. And oh boy, hey, guess what? Now we got the contract. I'm just saying, like, pay attention, because all things that we think are good are actually crap down the road. They all need fired, yes. They only be catapulted. So yeah, legislator. And by the way, I found out from what I've been told is that you have to have 1,000 people guaranteed that are going to buy that plate. Now, do we even have 1,000 former legislators that were in office for at least 12 years to get one of these plates? I don't think so. I don't know what John Bartlett is thinking. However, he's a Democrat, so not too surprised. Johnny GOP, Johnny Suitcase, you're going to love this bill because it's the biggest virtue signaling bill I've ever seen. I can't imagine like the few in their office for those purposes. I know I'm in Marion County. Who would ever thought there's a grand jury happening right now with Thomas Cook and him banging the chick that was lobbying for contracts. Hey, you know what? That toppy must have been good. That's all I can say. Or Thomas Cook is just a scumbag. Two things going to be right at the same time. Anyway, so Moet basically has a bill that would eliminate sales tax, right? And not retail market for utility bills, which this thing will never pass, by the way, because the amount of revenue that these states will not see. Now, because we saw how much Democrats cried about SB1 or even the local government's like, what are we going to do without our money? How are we supposed to pay for our schools that we're going to learn how to tune up our kids or cut them up? Yeah, didn't happen. We were fine. They'll be fine. Hey, maybe $42 million on ESL maybe will help out the schools. especially when some classrooms are filled up with 59% of ESL people, ESL children. Deport, sorry. By the way, Mike Young had a similar bill too, but he actually broke it down and is a table of like, we're not just going to stop, we're going to taper it off. But you see how much money the state will not see anymore. As a high estimate was 0%, almost $750 million that these states would not see anymore if you eliminated the sales tax for utilities. Man, that would be so funny. Never going to happen, by the way. All right, so Common Ireland W catapult. Yeah, schools aren't cutting them up. No, encouraging to cut themselves up. This bill defines aggravated child molesting. Basically, if you commit aggravated child molestation, you're getting dead, son. You're getting dead, or you're going to jail without parole. Common Ireland W. This is my favorite. I'm so glad that Brad is in the chat right now, because this is by far my favorite bill. So this is like a five-way bill. Let me make sure that I have it right, though. I do have my notes right here, I think. So basically, this bill would not allow schools to use public money for lobbying. The taxpayers can sue through a civil action if the school violates the lobbying ban. No, hey, Brad, no turning school days into protest days. Sorry, you can't leave because you want to go to some rally. You have to go and do your job. Also, financial penalties for violations. 1 day of funding for each day of violation. Also, payroll deductions are restricted. School employers may no longer deduct union dues, fees, assessments, any other sums from employee pay to hold for or pay to school employee organization. Hey, massive W, I think. Am I right, Brad? Brad. I thought so. Oh, man. So anyway, okay, let's talk about the declawing bill. I don't have a problem with this bill. What I do have a problem with is, like I said earlier, is the hypocrisy of it. You're having a problem with cats getting mutilated, but you don't have a problem with children being mutilated. All right, so if you are okay with both, if you're going to say, hey, we're trying to protect animals, which I am an animal lover, I think animal abusers should be given helicopter rides. Why not add that into the bill as well? That as an amendment, I'm just telling you guys right now, as an amendment, have a harsher penalty for animal abuse. I mean, we saw that lady that had like dead animals in her U-Haul van over at Fountain Square Skid Row. Maybe she just needs to be given a helicopter ride. Adoption of research animals, I don't think it's a bad thing in principle. However, I am a little bit worried about these animals being all jacked up on something. You know how many rabbits there are that have been injected with who knows what? Now, I saw Ken Colbert yesterday kind of freaking out about this SJ1. And basically, right now in Indiana, there's no bond is allowed for murderers and people that commit treason. What do you think about that, Brad? Huh? What do you think about that, Brad? I need a hand warmer out in the wood art. Yeah, it is a little bit chilly out right now. So, and basically what this bill would do is allow no ban on other things. Now, that was talked about today. And basically the gist of the bill is if you're like a repeat violent offender, there was no vote on it. It was purely testimony, is that you're not going to be allowed bail. That was basically it. And there are a lot of questions, which I imagine there's going to be a lot of amendments for this bill. We'll see what happens when they go back and talk about it. I think it'll happen next week. But you'll have to reduce. You know, there's a lot of examples, especially in Marion County, when you talk about that guy had like 99 arrests. Even like how I pointed out not long ago, there was someone who had like 45, a whole bunch of people that have been. I mean, can we do something like if you're a habitual line stepper? I don't think that's too much to ask for. Especially people who get pulled over and they did not have a license. Like, you have to do something pretty egregious in Marion County to, one, get pulled over, and two, like, if you don't have a license and you're driving, you should be cool as a cucumber. But because you're an idiot, you have to take the bus or you have to walk. Just saying. All right, so this one is the funniest bill. Execution of death sentence. Now, this bill basically says If you're a lawmaker, or it requires the warden of the state prison to select an execution team consisting of members of the General Assembly who have volunteered to serve on the execution team. Now, do you know how many people would sign up for this bill if you said, hey, we're going to expand it out to people that are not lawmakers? Dude, I would be number one in that line. I would be number one in that deli line to say, oh, I get to execute a child rapist? Please, please, I will pay you to let me execute a child rapist. And I imagine people like Jim Lucas would be chomping at the bit. Oh, wait a minute. What did he say? Sign me up. In fact, Jim Lucas is one of those people. I love it. Now, HJR 1, this would double the amount of legislators in the IGA, which is a terrible idea. Not only adding more legislators is a terrible idea, but just logistically is a terrible idea. If any of you guys have been in the area where they meet, where all the state reps meet, it is tight in there. Johnny GOP can attest. He's been in there quite a few times. Like you're like shoulder to shoulder when you're sitting in the desk. Like there's not a whole lot of movement in there. So you're talking about right now, that's 100 state reps would turn to 200. For 50 senators, it'd be 100 senators. I mean, you're talking about like you need more legislative assistants, you need more interns, you need more administration, you need more LAs. I think I said that right. Legislative. Yeah, I said more LAs. But like, and then you just need more room. You're going to have to double up the room somehow. You're going to knock down walls. Like, how many tens of millions of dollars would you have to renovate the state house where everybody can meet? Or would you build a whole new state house? This is just a terrible idea. I do not understand why anybody would think that is a great idea. Double the number of people that don't do shit. Exactly, Ducky. Exactly. All right, so the HJR2 would also eliminate 5 the currently elected officials: auditor, recorder, treasurer, coroner, and surveyor. I don't entirely have a problem with this. What I have a problem with it is that who all the power would go to, which would be the commissioner. Think of like a super mayor, basically. Like all these duties are going to be down to one person. But I think the state assembly has to decide of like, well, exactly how are you going to do that? This seems like it's going to be an appointment, though, which means like, all right, you're not an elected position, but you're in an appointed position, which in reality is a less of a accountability thing. Yeah. Auditor. Oh, no, assessor. No. But Johnny, oh, no. That's funny you say that because Wesco has a bill for a township elimination of a township assessor. Now, that doesn't say if the county council or commission. Okay, so it is county as well, because it says there, if the county council and the county commissioners unanimously vote to abolish the office and consolidate with the office of the county assessor. Okay, there you go. So eliminates the township and it goes into a county, which, by the way, I did not know until reading right now, literally seconds ago, I did not know there are township ones. I thought there were just county ones. Like, you imagine some of these counties that do not have a whole lot of people, and then they have township. Like, what the fuck? Why? How many? Wait a minute. How many township is that? Oh, no. All right. I have to stop right now. Hold on. I have to find out. This does not make any sense. D2 Indy. So true. I have to find out. What? Wait a minute. All right, are the township trustees? Hold on. For total. Oh, elected. Oh, okay. 176 statewide, 832. Oh, so this trustee is also the. Oh, okay, is also the assessor. Okay, that makes sense then. Yeah, I did not know. Vic in the chat, let's go. All right, so boom, boom, bam, bing, bong. All right, so this one is very interesting. The constitutional mention of the circuit breaker. I'm not going to go like into the weeds on it. I'll just give you a quick breakdown. Everybody knows about the 1, 2, 3, about the house or the residential, the agriculture, and the industrial for the increase of property tax of 1%. It can't go higher than 1%. And if it goes higher than 1%, then the local government has to cover the rest of it. Those are called circuit breakers. This bill would eliminate basically the state controlling the circuit breaker, and it would go down to the local government level. Basically, what would happen is you would, because we all know how will this turn out if this bill passes. Basically, what would happen, you would be paying more property taxes, and then the local government will take more of your money. Because right now with SB1, everything is restricted. That's why you see all those local governments freaking out about how much money they do or don't have. However, their budget still keeps going up. And what this bill would do, or this resolution would do, is that it would give local government the power to reduce the circuit breaker, where you would have to pay more money. The rules would be off. And of course, James Buck is doing it because he's a piece of shit. Let's see. I don't really know. Ducky, let me get your opinion on this, because I think I saw you in the chat about it. I'd make a Class B misdemeanor if a male knowingly or intentionally enters a restroom that is designated to be used only by females. Female and knowingly or intentionally enters a restroom that is designated to be used one by males. So basically, if trans people or drag queens are like, well, I'm going to go into the opposite restroom. Now, I'm sure the guys don't have a problem if a girl goes into the male restroom. However, I know the women would be a problem if the males were going to the restroom. Now, I imagine there's probably like a couple of restrictions on this. Like if your girlfriend's so drunk, you got to get her out of the bathroom. If you got to go in there and find out what's going on, why is she throwing up? That kind of stuff. I don't expect this to go anywhere. Now, Becky Cash, who I think should definitely be on the show, to talk about some of these bills, or even like Indie Defender meeting this month would be a good idea too. This was a bill that I talked about last week, 1012, the Medicaid matters. She also has one for 1086, the restrictions on the sale of public utilities to private equity firms. I think that would be very interesting, or our adversarial countries. So sorry, China is not allowed to buy AES. Oh, I'm sorry, BlackRock. You're not allowed to buy AES either, which I think would be very cool. SJR1, President. Yes. I'm going to talk about that at the next 20-minute breakdown. All right, let's talk about some of the cray-cray stuff that's going on. Ashton Hackman, great head of lettuce, by the way, WHTR, says a child care worker is facing charges after a 3-year-old girl allegedly consumed THC gummers while at daycare. Now, Sierra Bell, yes, you D2 Indy, I know what you're thinking. Sierra Bell, do I need to have a check? Do I need to get a fit check? Well, you would be correct. Is charged with felony neglect of a dependent and misdemeanor reckless supervision. The whole story is actually kind of weird, but this is where it gets even more weird. They tried calling the daycare center, which is Tots R Us Daycare Ministries, and the number is disconnected. So yours truly went and did a little deep digging on this baby. Found out where they are. They're over on 38th and Shadeland, but they're a nonprofit. Oh, perfect. They're a nonprofit. That means they must have a 990. $1.8 million in revenue this nonprofit daycare is having right now. And the reason for that is because of CCDF, which is Child Care Development Fund. I think so. Child Care Food Program, pre-K, and the cash pay revenue. However, $1.5 million of it is from the CCDF. So we all know what's happening with the Somalian stuff. Those light bulb-headed, room temperature IQ Somalians. And I wanted to know, well, how many children is that exactly? That's what I'd like to know. So I had ChatGPT do a little rough estimate on it. On reported revenue, conservative annual per child, which is $14,000, which is bananas. And estimated children served 110 children. Now imagine that's for the year. So you have 120 to 130 children for the year. And that includes all of those with the CCDF, food program, pre-K, cash pay families, and other program revenue. But for the CCDF, you're talking about just over 100 children for the year. I think that's what it is, because there's no way it's 14,000 per month. That would be bananas. However, I would not be surprised. I am looking into more of that stuff, because now I'm starting to make connections where, like, this is basically where, how much time do we got? because my girlfriend dragged me to the girls' restroom and they have sex at the Murat. Nice. I mean, not good. I mean, cool for the banging, but not cool for the I guess weirdos are just going to need their own restroom. Yeah, that's the problem, Ducky. You are so right. The problem is, like, we keep bending the knee to them, though. Like, okay, so our taxpayers are going to have to pay for some non-binary room for such a minority of a people. We shouldn't be doing. We just need to go back to mental asylums and lobotomies. Is that too much? Which is very funny because Liz Brown does have a bill for gender issues. If the bill defines female, male, gender, and sex for all Indiana statutes. The bill provides the DOC shall assign an offender, including delinquent offender, to facility programs. So basically, you got all these dudes that put a wig on and then goes into the women's prison and knocking these broads up. No mas. I'm hoping that does not happen in Indiana. I put it just in case it does. Boom. All right. That is that. Oh, yeah. So how much time? Oh, I got plenty of time. All right. Let me show you guys something real quick. I'll show you what I'm researching right now. If you guys are on the Discord, you've probably already seen this. I'm going to give you a quick, well, if one of them tries to occupy the rest of me, if I'm here, there's going to be a scene. Hell yeah, there should be a scene, Ducky. All right, so this is how you kind of, if you guys ever want to, you get bored, you want to help me out. Oh, wait a minute. I got the wrong screen. There we go. Boom, bam, bing. Boom, boom. All right. So you'll go into the FSSA childcare finder, start a new search. You hit accept. You go no preference. You go no preference. You go no preference, no preference, and no preference. Now, what the only thing that you really want to do, that you really want to care about, is this part, the provider type. Now, what you're going to probably see is the most sketchy part is when they are unlicensed certified home, because I have found some daycare center homes that also have a trucking transportation place out of it, and also a landscaping place out of it as well. Now, what you also have to look for are the nonprofits. So I just hit on no preference, and I've been telling this to everybody, and this is kind of the heads up. Now, these are all the childcare childcare daycare centers. There's a lot, obviously. Is the only real way to find out if there's anything going on is you get, as long as you get the nonprofit, like that one. That nonprofit is a perfect example. Like $1.8 million is a lot of money. That means there must be a lot of children. The only way that you would be able to prove that is not fraud is that you have to stake the place out. I hate to say that you have to be that creep, but you do have to be that creep. That's the only way to find out. Is like, there's only 5 children going here. I think you had to monitor everything. Now, what is kind of fun is that, like, here, fruit of the loom over here, fruit of the Holy Spirit Child Care Ministry, right here at the bottom, critical health and safety violations, inspections 82. Hold on, you guys can't see it. Oh, this light. Hold on. There we go. Next. At the time of inspection, the freezer temperature read 6 degrees Fahrenheit. The refrigerator and freezer is enough conveniently located, blah, blah, blah. They have to make sure the children have the right immunizations, blah, blah, blah. Child abuse and neglect. Child abuse and neglect from last February, almost a year ago. In the bathroom next to the kitchen, the fan is uncovered and dirty. There you go. Those are the kind of inspections that you are seeing. There are a couple of other ones that are not cool at all. Irvington Root and Wings. Okay, so the other part is, too, the child care for ages. Sometimes they'll actually put, like, how many children they have on there. But the hours of the operation, there are some that I found that are open until midnight. And I'm not even sure if they're allowed to do that. The inspections, and they're mostly Mexican. Yeah. And I think there's also rules if they have a playground. Some of the playgrounds that I drove by, man, are they sketchy. Yeah, they are definitely turning it up now that redistricting. Oh, there is a redistricting bill, which I will talk about. I don't think I need any more of this, right? All right, so what's happening this week over at the State House? A ton of meetings. Actually, let me get the House committee schedule. That's today. So Wednesday. Yeah. So these are the meetings happening. Wait, House Chamber? Oh, that's where their meeting is, at the House Chamber. So we got wait a minute. That can't be right. Wait a minute. Hold on. Oh, yeah, education is happening tomorrow. Okay, there we go. Education, courts and criminal code, constitutional amendment ballot question from Aylesworth. What is that? What is that? What is that? Aylesworth has a constitutional amendment for what? Ballot question for what? Oh, for a residency of a city or a town court judge. I remember watching this in committee last year. And basically, some of these people don't live where they work. Well, that's kind of the prerequisite. Battery against vulnerable workers. I think teachers are going to be put on that expungement. And then a hearing for the local income tax and the government. Yeah. All right. So anyway, cancel that out. And then let's do this. Oh, fucking mouse is stuck. Trafficking. Yeah. Oh, so I did see Vanetta Becker. She's on not a wheel. She's on a walker, a rolling walker. Very interesting. So these are all the bills. When I did my bill show last Sunday, there were only 320-ish. I guarantee there's a lot more now. There are so many bills. All right, so government entity LLC. Oh, yeah. Okay, so I just did a little research on this one. You guys are going to love this. This is really funny. So this would prevent... so like, say if you have like a Tough Mudder event and somebody gets hurt, and then there's going to be a lawsuit, even though it's on federal land, a governmental entity from the federal government. Yeah. And they're having a Tough Mudder event and somebody gets hurt. Well, all of a sudden someone wants to do a lawsuit. This bill would prevent that because it's known under an extreme sport area. And I tried finding if there were any actual examples of it. I could not find anything. And there was one back in I take that back. There was one in 2013, but I couldn't go any deeper than that. Let's see, where is it? Where somebody drowned. Yeah, back in a Tough Mudder event in West Virginia. A participant drowned during a submerged obstacle. The participant's estate sued the organizers for wrongful death, alleging unsafe design and inadequate supervision. Dude, you are an adult. You signed up for this. Plus, like, didn't they sign a waiver like you can't sue me? So I don't even know what happened with that. Same thing, though. Same problem that we're going to end up having is like, we need to have tort reform, especially what happened last year and the certain things that people are going through right now. Like, defamation cases are so fake and lame unless they're like, you literally said something that is factually false and you know that it's false. And I'm talking about like the people that call somebody a pedophile, not someone that makes fun of them online. Like, bitch ass. Can't say. That was that. All right. So crimes concerning gift cards from Kyle Walker and Carrasco. Oh, speaking of Kyle Walker, I don't want Tiffany to win. I don't want her to run as state senator. Give me Juanita Albright. Tiffany blows. She's the worst. She would basically be another Kyle Walker. And I would like to know. So what do we know about Tiffany too? Has no problem with what Diego is doing right now. She even like started questioning people about Diego and all the criticism that we were giving him. He's like, well, technically, isn't he still doing his job? And then what else did Kyle Walker do? What did he have an amendment? Do you remember? We called it Johnny GOP. Do you remember what we called it? The John Schmitz amendment. Kyle Walker tried filing an amendment where you could have outside people vote, even though in like a caucus, because in a caucus, you can straighten this out for me just in case I'm wrong. But in a caucus, like when you ran, only the people that were elected were allowed to vote, not a people that were appointed. And Kyle Walker's amendment would change that. If you were appointed, you were allowed to vote in caucus votes. And if I'm pretty sure I'm right on that. But yeah, so basically Tiffany Ditlevison our favorite establishment Hamilton County person, also sticking up for Raju, doesn't seem to have a problem with all these illegals coming into the county or coming into the state and raping our resources. New York shut down the D's request to spend the gas tax during COVID. Yeah, I think it's sell vote for me. Yeah, that was a well, the thing is, Democrats would not do that if they were in control. And there's strong evidence to support that because of the Democrat-controlled states. I can promise you that. Because, you could change that right now in Marion County. All right. Okay, we already talked about that one. Already talked about gender issues, military protection order, which I'm not exactly sure about in this one. Pregnancy and childbirth matters. I didn't look into that one. Oh, Greg Walker. Where is it? Garnishment. No. It's eligible. Oh, yeah. So Greg Walker wants to give more people SNAP benefits. The bill's provision will increase SNAP participation by an estimated 3,700 cases, increasing the general fund share of administrative costs for additional personnel and other costs by an estimated $590,000. So basically, Greg Walker, Republican, who voted against redistricting, he wants to give more people SNAP benefits. Now, this one was really funny. Greg Walker has a bill that he filed to eliminate mid-decade redistricting, or any time. Doesn't even have to be middle of the decade. It could be like 3 years after. It could be 8 years after. Only if the courts allow it. Oh, let me make sure I have my notes somewhere. Oh, here it is. The bill locks district maps for lawmakers can redraw congressional or legislative districts only in the first session after the census. No midday, unless the court strikes the map. But yeah, so basically the court would have to approve it. For what's that? Let's see. What's the caveat? Unless the court orders it. And I think he had an amendment during redistricting for this, which I thought was kind of funny, to be honest with you. I started just looking. Oh, I don't understand this one. I think this is a fake. This bill provides that real ID, driver's license, or identification card that complies with certain requirements is sufficient proof identification for purposes of election statutes. However, this is what I want to know. What do you mean by sufficient? Because the argument for voter ID last year was that your college ID would work, even though you don't live here. That was the big argument when all these IU kids were coming here, which I have said many times. IU people annoy me the most. The IU sports ball people are the most insufferable people I have ever met in my entire life. Whenever I am on the highway, let me just go on an IU rant real quick. Whenever I am on the highway and some jerk off is either driving slow, cuts me off, doesn't use turn signals, insert whatever bitch that I have, they get in front of me, and what do they have? An IU plate. They are so fucking annoying. I'm sorry that I have to go with strong language. I cannot stand it. Now, I'm sure there are some based IU people out there. However, my experience has been IU people are the worst. And listen, and like I said, it's like the whole boomer thing. There are based boomers, but there are not enough of them. Just like there are not enough based IU people. My experience with them of how terrible they are, not as just drivers, but people, especially the IU sports ball people. God, it's so annoying. No, I agree, Ducky. Yeah, your driver's license should be sufficient. What I'm worried about is like, what's the other thing? Because they say. Or that's the word I'm worried. Or identification card that complies with certain requirements is sufficient proof. As what? Like an ID? Because really, all you have to do is have an ID card. You don't even have a driver's license. Yeah, yeah, Vic, the Fernando thing. Yeah, the Mendoza thing. Yeah. And I got in trouble with that one. Don't worry though, I came back. I came back stronger as usual. You try to strike me down, I'm like Doomsday. Every time you try to kill me, I just come back stronger. You cannot kill the wit. That is true. All right. There were a couple other bills that I want to look at. Well, okay, let's just go bill roulette right now. Oh, that already looked at that one. Hold on. What is actually? Let me tell. I saw Andrea Hundley at the city county meeting last night too. She was with some dude. Oh no, it was some guy. Looked like a dude, but her husband was there. I saw the husband like walk in. I'm like, I'm pretty sure that's Hundley's husband. And so he's keeping notes, and then Hundley walks in, doesn't even sit next to him, like sits like 4 rows ahead of him. And so he walks over next to her, and then it's like, oh hey, like all like dandy like, and I'm like, oh dude, this guy does not wear the pants in this marriage at all. And so he's like trying to tell her what's going on. You can tell that she's getting frustrated. So he leaves and he gives her like a peck on the temple. I was like, this is so fucking soft. Like it is very obvious. And I remember the very first time that I saw him, I was at some West Side meeting. And he was in the corner. Like Hundley put him in the corner while he is typing stuff up in the on his laptop. She had her kids there too, and I think it was like I thought it was like they're an intern. Come to find out, it's actually to use them for testimony, like she did about the school stuff. But anyway, I'm always interested in what Hundley is posting for her bills. What kind of bullshit? Speed control in school zones, lady. We're in Marion County. We're in the Wild West. You just have to have accountability. Just enforcement of the rules is all it takes. Well, let's see what else. Landlord-tenant matters. Okay. They may not sell a residential rental property that is subject to unexpired written list unless the landlord gives written notice to the tenant not less than 60. Don't we already do that? Required a buyer of the residential rental property to honor on an expired written lease. Don't we already kind of do that? Psychiatric care ombudsman. What is that? What's an didn't we talk about this last week? What an ombudsman is? State administrative retirement. I hate this. I absolutely hate this. There is no reason why the private sector and the public sector should be combined. There's no reason why our tax-paying dollars should be used for private sector employees. Let them figure it out. Yeah, I kind of already have a real ID, I think. Isn't that the one with the Mario Kart star on there? Oh yeah, so I already have had it. I've had it for like 10 years. It's like 10 years. It's foster youth. This is probably house because she was a foster kid. That's what I thought. To create a statement called the Foster Youth Bill of Rights, which is to summarize foster youth rights and responsibilities. Oh, that sounds wonderful. All right, I want to see the speed control in the school zones. Tell me, old lady. The bill authorized county management to adopt and enforce an ordinance that regulates the use of school zone control system to detect certain violations. It provides a civil. Okay, so just put a red light camera on that. What's going to happen then? You know what's going to happen? You know what's going to happen? Nothing. That's what's going to happen. They're going to get a bill in the mail and say, hey, guess what? You were speeding in a school zone. All right, cool. It was 3 a.m. What children are over there right now? And guess what? They're going to get all these fines. And then what's going to happen, especially in Marion County? They're not going to pay them. They're going to have to go to court. Then they're going to get their license taken away. Then all the Democrats are going to be like, hey, well, they got to drive. Maybe we shouldn't be so harsh against habitual line steppers, especially those that speed in a school zone. Whatever. I hate these. Nothing ever happens. Also, firearm storage is lame. I should be able to shove my gun wherever I want to. All right, well, it's 8:51. You guys know what time that is. Mouthwash is in 9 minutes. That's it for me on it. We're going to talk about more bills because apparently the filing deadline is actually this week. It was supposed to be before the end of the year, but apparently, like it's such a clusterfuck right now. Even people in the committee, the chairs of the committees are like, yeah, we're not exactly sure how this is going to turn out because the deadline and like LSA and then figuring out the fiscal is going to get really goofy. But also, we're in a short session, so we don't know how this is going to turn out. All we know is we're going to be here for a long time. And Freeman was talking about it earlier. He's like, we're going to start committee at 8 o'clock, and we don't know when it's going to end, which that kind of sucks, to be honest with you. But anyway, no Saturday show. Indie Reporter will be back tomorrow for the 20-minute rundown on Wednesday at 8 o'clock p.m. Also on Friday at 8 o'clock p.m. to basically just cover all the committee meetings and some of the bills that were talked about. So with that being said, love you guys. Bye.